Right, Shalom, giving all praises and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Rahakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, to I say Shalom, Meshua, Shalom. All right, so I punched up an AI question here because I was looking through some things, news and stuff, and I had a question here. It says, how many countries are in active battle with one another? So it says, as of December 2025, there are several countries engaged in active battle with one another, either directly in interstate conflicts or through significant cross-border interventions or proxy wars. Okay, which these proxy wars, you got somebody, basically two countries that are warring with each other, but indirectly through some other, uh, let me see, perfect example. You have uh, well, I think Iran has some kind of level of partnership with the Russian, if I'm correct. I might be wrong. Because I think we went into something the other day, but that might have been something else. But anyways, like just supplying with certain weapons or technology or something like that, and they're fighting against the Israelis, which the Israelis are being supplied with money and other things by America. So it's like America and Russia are at war with one another, but indirectly. Okay, it's through these two countries, proxy war. All right. Um, like with Russia threatening America about when they gave them the what were they called, the Tomahawk missiles, stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, so okay, so we told you not to get them the Tomahawk missiles because they can strike further into our territory and hit, um I guess you could say, important structures or whatever the case may be. So we're gonna do the same thing by, you get the point. Proxy war. As a matter of fact, give me a second because I might step outside. All right. So like I was saying, because I'm gonna try not to speed through this. Really got a slight little headache. I know if once I get relaxed, I might be out of there. We'll see. But I'm not trying to rush through this though. So it says, while many conflicts are internal civil wars, they often involve external state support, making the number of countries participating in some form of battle high. Some sources indicate as many as 78 countries are involved in conflicts outside their borders, the highest number since World War II. Let me read that again. It says, while many conflicts are internal civil wars, they often involve external state support, making the number of countries participating in some form of battle high. Some sources indicate as many as 78 countries are involved in conflicts outside their borders, the highest number since World War II, which World War II wasn't that far back, okay? As a matter of fact, I can type it in. How many years has it been since WW2? Oh, maybe I gotta go down to get the answer, huh? Actually, I don't think he gave it to us. How many years has it been since World War II? All right, so it's not giving us anything. It's dumb. Anyways, let's go back up. So, and we can just look it up some other time. All right. It says the exact number of countries. Actually, did I read all that? Okay, a staggering 78 countries are involved in conflicts beyond their borders, indicating a high degree of internalization. Or I think we actually read down past that. Anyways, the exact number of countries in active conflict with one another or interstate conflict is harder to pinpoint than the number of total conflicts because many current conflicts are internal civil wars with external involvement. All right, so people of the same country fighting against one another. All right, but then having an outside force, interfering and saying, I don't know, we're going to mediate or we stand for this side or that side or whatever the case may be. Proxy dynamics and cross-border insurgencies rather than formal declared wars between two states. However, several major interstate or internationalized conflicts are ongoing. Okay, and this is why I want to get to the list. Russia and Ukraine. The full-scale war continues to be a major conflict with high casualties and global impact. Okay, and we talk about Russia and Ukraine all the time because, especially Russia in particular, have been a major player on that World War III radar, right? So you have Russia, Ukraine. Okay, we always run down a little bit of that, going back to the annexation of Crimea, but also, going back to the Tucker Carlson interview with Putin, where he ran down the history of why they are pursuing Ukraine in the first place. Okay, and so he's saying he's justified because it belongs to us. All right. Israel and Palestine / Iran. The Israel-Hamas war has escalated into a broader regional conflict involving Iran and its proxies. See, Israel-Hamas war has escalated into a broader regional conflict involving Iran and its proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, militias in Iraq and Syria. Okay, so Israel and Palestine over / Iran, India and Pakistan. The two nuclear powers experienced intense conventional conflict in May 2025 over Kashmir dispute, a major flashpoint. Okay, and you have China and the U.S. While not a direct war, there are escalating tensions and confrontations over Taiwan and the South China Sea. Yeah, there's always argument about the disputed waters over there in that area, and then which China has been talking about a while now about going and taking Taiwan. Okay, which we talked about that a few times before. And Biden at that meeting that he had, and like, okay, we get it. Why you want Taiwan? And this, we're not going to stand in your way. But then he went home and kind of changed his tune. Okay, but yeah, China's been talking about taking Taiwan. I guess you could say back for them, just like with Russia, right? Taking Taiwan back. You now have Japan, uh, who kind of butted their head in that business. Okay, and there's other ones that are not mentioned here. Okay, because you have North Korea, South Korea, where you had America and Japan butting the business there of North Korea versus South Korea, and so on and so forth. But let's keep reading. Afghanistan and Pakistan. The border region sees frequent clashes and insurgencies. Beyond these specific interstate dynamics, numerous countries are engaged in complex, often multi-party, internal conflicts with significant external backing and international implications. Right, Sudan. The civil war has created the world's largest displacement crisis and famine conditions. Okay. Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC. Multiple localized conflicts and rebel activity, some backed by Rwanda, persist, which I believe that's one of those places when they, we spoke about up above, people that are fighting against one another with external, interference. Myanmar. The civil war is the world's longest ongoing conflict with widespread fighting between the militia, junta, however you pronounce it, and resistance forces. Syria, over a decade of civil war and foreign interventions, has resulted in a vast humanitarian crisis. All right, Yemen, the civil war, which has involved significant proxy interventions, continues to be a major humanitarian disaster. The Sahel region, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, jihadist insurgencies and state responses have led to worsening instability and violence. Okay, and now you know what? We're missing something here. Okay, because before they had something up here mentioned about America. Okay, and I was going to mention that as we got down here, but notice how America's not here. Now we know good and well, and I also mentioned North Korea, South Korea. Okay, there's some more down there. All right. Okay, I see what it is. So this is the one that I punched in before, but I reiterated the question. Notice where it says active conflict. I took conflict out and I put battle. So okay, so let me scroll down. Okay, so that's probably actually where the other question is too, or maybe not. Maybe they didn't give us the other question. But okay, so here we go. So let's go and get this because I did reiterate the question. So I knew something was off there. So as of December 2025, there are several countries engaged in active battle with one another, either directly in interstate. Oh, it's the same thing we just read, cross-border interest. All right, so all that is the same there. So it goes on to say Russia and Ukraine. All right, this remains Europe's largest conflict since World War II, with direct military engagement between the two nations and extensive support for Ukraine from Western countries. All right, then it says Israel. All right, country in the Middle East, Israel and its neighbors, Palestine, Lebanon, Iran, Syria, Yemen. Okay, the Israel-Hamas war has expanded regionally. Israel has engaged in direct conflict with Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and Iran through direct airstrikes. All right, they had what was called the 12-day war. They had that's ongoing beef. India, all right, India and Pakistan, the two nuclear armed powers, fought a 4-day conventional conflict in May 2025 over the disputed Kashmir region, resulting in significant casualties. Democratic Republic of the Congo, all right, DRC, which we just read about, and Rwanda. Tensions and conflict in eastern DRC involve M23 rebels who are reportedly supported by the Rwandan government, leading to regional instability and the involvement of other African peacekeeping forces. Afghanistan and Pakistan. There are ongoing border clashes with Pakistan launching airstrikes against militant positions within Afghanistan, which has led to exchanges of fire with Afghan Taliban forces. And as you notice, through both of these, one said conflict, one said battle, but there's things that are mentioned in one that are not mentioned in the other, and vice versa. Okay, and then there's some that are not mentioned at all that we actually did mention. It says U.S. while not a full-scale war, there have been direct military confrontations, including U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. Yeah, that's when they did the no look pass. All right, where they were like, oh, we don't know what happened when they struck when Israel struck Iran and stuff like that, but America really gave the go ahead secretly. All right, they did a secret attack. Like, yeah, let's do this on the sly, and we're gonna turn our head the no look pass. For the layup, the alley oop, or whatever. All right, that's what they did. But then Iran came back out later and said they didn't really destroy everything they thought they destroyed, and we're about to start rebuilding, our nuclear program. All right. So including U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities and Iranian retaliation against U.S. bases in the region. See, for a detailed look at ongoing conflicts, the Council of Foreign Relations Global Conflict Tracker provides an interactive map and analysis. Now, the one thing I want to mention, at the bottom, because U.S. is the last one. Notice how it doesn't mention Venezuela. Okay, now there's some news that we got about Israel. I'm not Israel. America seizing an oil tanker. All right, and Trump saying, being asked by the reporters what they're going to do and where it's going to go. He's like, I guess we're going to keep the oil and so on and so forth. So we're seeing where this conflict is going. All right. Actually, let me see. I'm gonna click on this, see where it goes to. Because really, I wanted this to be brief. Because I actually want to go over to the scriptures. Okay, Council on Foreign Relations, Global Conflict Tracker. Oh, actually, this is an app that I used before. Okay, cool. So I'm not going to get into all that. Yeah, just, well, actually, it says Conflict Tracker, but not. I have a couple apps on protest. Okay, so, and they never gave us our question. How long has it been since World War II? And they're not going to give it to us. All right, cool. It's okay. We can, let's do say this. How long has it been since World War II? 80 years since the end of World War II. 80 years since the end of World War II. All right, and then moving on to the Cold War. So, like I was saying before, that it hasn't been as long as most people think. All right, that's today. That's an average lifespan. For a lot of people. All right, 80 years. Okay, so with that, let me see. I could drop all this. Like I said, I wanted that to be short, but I guess it wasn't as short as I wanted it to be. But it's okay. Because I want to go into all those things. Okay. As a matter of fact, let's get this in Revelation 1. Woe is past. All right. Because the point I was making is this build up to World War III. Because you got new conflicts that are popping up every day. Other conflicts that are ongoing, then certain conflicts that are getting more and more tense. All right. Oh, NATO wasn't mentioning those things. All right. Which, of course, NATO's not in direct conflict with like Russia or whatever. But there's things going on that, things that are being worked up. Okay. Let's get this. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. All right. Because one woe, World War I, is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter, which was World War II, and then the third woe. Okay. I think the scripture says the third woe coming quickly. The third woe cometh quickly. Okay, there it is, 11:14. Um, yep. And there's and this. Well, actually, we can start here because that's really going to something else. But it's along the lines, but not exactly what we want here. So Revelation 11:14, the second woe was passed, and behold, the third woe coming quickly. So we just read one woe is past, and two woes come here more after. So the one woe is talking about World War I, and the two woes to come are World War II and World War III. Now here in Revelation 11:14 says the second woe is past, World War II is past, and behold, the third woe, which is what, World War III, coming quickly. Okay. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it says that the second woe is past, and behold, the third will come quickly. Now, if you get what's it, Isaiah, it speaks about the third woe, how it's gonna be fought. I think it's Isaiah 9. Yeah, Isaiah 9:5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments running blood, because people fought in the battlefield with horses and elephants. I was about to say knives, but not knives, but swords, long swords, short swords, spears, axes, bow and arrow, so on and so forth. All right. Now you have the modern day. You have what? Men have guns. They have technology. They have rockets. They have tanks. They have all kinds of jeeps and trucks and stuff. Okay, even going so far with technology as to make devices for the battlefield. Got drones, robot dogs, and things of that nature. Right. So even AI has met the battlefield today. Okay, but what does it all lead up to? All right, destruction of Babylon the Great by way of World War III. Okay, Babylon the Great being America, the West. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments more than blood. But this being World War III, that third woe, right? This shall be with burning and fuel of fire, because missiles will be shot. Okay. Um. I was thinking, I mean, so many prophets prophesied about it. Who can we get? As a matter of fact, since we're in Isaiah, let's get Isaiah. Look, there's more right there. U.S. fighter jets enter Venezuelan airspace amid Trump threat. I think we have a clip dealing with that this evening about a jets, something about some jets. A couple things about some jets. America with jets near Venezuela. Russia shooting down the Su-27 jet or something like that. A little bit of things there. Where was I going though? 34. I think it's 34, 31. Okay, beautiful. As a matter of fact, before we get this, I actually want to grab. Okay. Matter of fact, let me get this while I'm looking at Matthew, because it went down too far. But this is something we also mention from time to time. Matthew 24. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not in trouble, because as we talked about, you see, conflicts getting deeper and deeper. You got new conflicts happening, okay, that are springing up, and so on and so forth, and everybody siding with somebody, okay, because there's going to be two sides to the playing field. I mean, of course, you have the BRICS nations, but Russia, the bear, is the one who's the backbone, Ezekiel 38, to whoever's on that side. And then America is going to be the biggest, baddest on the other side. Okay. And the closest to them is going to be, the state of Israel, who they're going to get demolished. But ultimately, eventually everybody's going to turn against those two places anyways. State of Israel is going to get overrun. All right. I think that's in Zechariah. Okay. It says he shall make Jerusalem a burdensome stone. Okay. Because that's in the so-called Middle East over there. That's going to get overrun. America is going to be left by itself, because it's pretty much, isolating itself from all of its allies a little bit by little bit. Okay. Just kind of like when you put threats. Okay. Like the scripture say, he's the hammer of the earth. So there's certain things that, like, the NATO or whoever, the EU, may not be okay with that America does, but they're still, like it says in Revelation 17, they're still subject unto them. All right, they give their how does it word? They give their minds over to the beast, to the word, to before. Let me just get it. It says, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, because World War III will happen in our time. Let me get this. What did I say? So I don't want to forget it, man. I should have just pulled it up. Shoot. What I was just mentioning. something in Revelation. I think it was. I can't even remember. Just that fast, right? See how it happens just that fast. I should have just pulled it up. If he comes back, it comes back. It's okay. But yeah. Anyways, I'll just back up. We can get what we wanted. Man, slipped me just that fast. So yeah, actually, this is all a good read here. But I want a particular yeah, I want to get a couple of verses here. I'm gonna actually jump. It says, "For the indignation of the Lord Yahweh was upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He had utterly destroyed them. He had delivered them to the slaughter." All right, it's beautiful how this talks in past tense, but this is a future event that hasn't even happened yet. Okay, let me get okay, because World War III is around the corner, but before that, we gotta have that C hip. Okay, Zephaniah 3:8. Actually, I went to the wrong one. Zechariah. I want to go to Zephaniah. Actually, no, it was right. Zechariah? Yeah, not Zephaniah 3. Where is it? Yeah, yep. So it says Zephaniah 3:8. Okay. So therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, until the day that I rise up to the prey, to pray beneath the nations. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms. You see, as we're talking about right now. All right, different conflicts that are popping up every day. You got proxy wars, you got main wars, and you got other people that are joining in on other people's, wars by, assisting them, or, whatever the case may be. All right. And all this is going to lead up to World War III, all right, on a major scale. And then World War III is going to lead up to the destruction of Babylon the Great. All right. It's like the domino effect. For my determination is to gather the nations. See, everyone that has a fighting and standing fighting army, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation. I'm going to assemble them to fight one another, to eventually pour upon them my indignation. Because once America is destroyed, Yahushua is going to finish off the rest of the nations. Okay, it says on his head were many crowns. Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. You see, and we go back here, talk about the fire of his jealousy, right? Okay, let me back up. Okay, let me back. Okay, here, the fire of his jealousy, right? So it says, what did I read? Let's just get right here. It says, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountain shall be melted with their blood, and all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. That's the nuclear destruction. You see that mushroom cloud. Okay, it says the earth was going to reel to and fall like a drunkard, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. Which, if I'm correct, John the Revelator explains it the same way. I think he explained it the same way or similar way. Is it Revelation 2? Let me see here. It's not 2. Let me see here. Maybe it's, I could jump over there. 3. One of these chapters, he mentions it in a similar way, if I'm correct. I almost want to say it was Revelation 2, though. Let me go back and double check. Just go up a little bit. It's the top of the chapter, so maybe it's not 2. Matter of fact, let me type it in. What did it say? Fig, falling fig, or something like that. Falling fig. I think it's also somewhere in Revelation. That's 34. Where we at right there? Where is New Testament? Let's go to the bottom. Man, I thought it was something similar. Oh, here it is. Okay, so Revelation 6. Bam, there we go. I knew it was in Revelation. Okay, I was trying to think about something else. Let's do this. Revelation 6. All right. Here we go. Yep, see? And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. All right, because the nuclear missiles that have been launched off and the destruction that's going to come of it. Okay. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth. Now, when it says stars of heaven fell into the earth, it's not actually talking about stars falling. John the Revelator was seeing a vision, and it looked like the stars were falling, but that's what he was seeing was the missiles. Right? You ever seen a missile or like a rocket or you know whatever missile being launched? You see the long because it's like a cylinder shape, and then you see the fire at the end of it. So if it was up in the sky, he was he didn't know what a missile was. They didn't exist back then. So he was thinking like, what's going on here? I see stars falling. Okay, so he explained what he saw basically. All right, he straightforward put on paper what he saw, which was stars falling, but it really wasn't stars. It was representing the nuclear missiles. And the stars of heaven fell onto the earth, even as a fig tree casted her untimely figs. You see the same thing when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. All right, and those chief ones are going to be the ones that are going to hide into those dens. Okay, and they're going to take certain people with them, which they'll probably microchip. Even those servants, all right, those important servants, they're going to try to hide with in their bunkers. They'll probably microchip those people. Okay, but anyways. And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, which is Yahushua. And it's beautiful because is that Revelation, I'm not Revelation, Isaiah 2, where it speaks about a similar thing, where it says the Lord alone shall be exalted in those days. And let me see if I can find it real quick. I believe there's a similar thing said back in Isaiah 2, man. Oh, see, there it is. Yep. And the idols he shall utterly abolish, and they shall go into the holes, Isaiah 2:19, of the rocks, and to the caves of the earth, for fear of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, because he's going to send Yahushua, and for the glory of his majesty, when he arises to shake terribly the earth. You see? In that day a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made each one for himself, to worship, to the moles and to the bats, to go where? Into the clefts of the rocks, you see? And into the tops of the ragged rocks, for fear of the Lord Yahweh, and for the glory of his majesty, when he arises to shake terribly the earth. Bam. Beautiful. See? So let's back up. Back in Revelation 6. And it says the same thing. And the kings of the earth, all right, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, like they try to show you in that one movie, where the Russian dude, I think it was Russian or something like that, but he had the money to buy tickets for himself and his son, okay, and then he had this chick with him, and she wanted to get married, but he was never going to marry because he knew that she was messing around with the Russian, the pilot. I think they were Russian. I just say Russian. I believe they were Russian. The pilot. So she was messing around with the pilot, but she was supposed to be his woman. Okay. And it's beautiful how actually in that movie, actually, no. I think she survived. Did she survive? I can't remember. I had to watch the movie again. I forget the name of it. Okay. I want to say both of them died, but I know the Russian dude with the two sons died. They probably had him die because he was like an a-hole or whatever. But then the Russian pilot dude died because, he was dealing with the dude's, woman. And if I can't remember the woman's outcome. I can't remember if she died or what. I'm not sure. I definitely have to watch the movie again. But anyways, the point I was making is where everybody was trying to pay their, the rich people had the opportunity to pay their way to safety. Okay. That's what these elites have done. They've paid their way to safety because they have the money to, excuse me, build these bunkers and things of that nature. All right, you got people like Zuckerberg talking about he got a place on an island or Hawaii or wherever. They said different big names like that who are associated with those banker families. Right, certain individuals of those banker families. All right, the important ones, anyways. They got these bunkers and stuff like that because they think that once the destruction on the earth comes, Yahushua returns, They actually think that they're going to come back. It's like they think, I don't know, I guess they think they're going to win the war. Revelation 12 says otherwise. Michael and his angels fought and Esau lost. He was taken out of heaven, out of power. Okay. So, I mean, it's the way Esau thinks here, why do the people rage and the heathen imagine a vain thing? All right. But it's like he thinks that like once everything is said and done, Yahushua is just going to fly off somewhere and just, okay, earth is done. And then just allow him to come back out and just, man, that's not the end of the story. But that's Esau's vain vision of the future. Okay. Which shows you, the blatant blasphemy of the Most High, because he thinks that he's going to pave his own path. When the scriptures tell you that, that there's really, man's goings are of the Lord. All right. How then can a man understand his own way? Okay. I think it was Proverbs 20:24. But Esau he thinks to pave his own path. He thinks that he's going to lay out his own future, right? And that's a very vain thought to have. It says, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Okay. Where are we? What chapter are we in? Okay, Revelation. So let's take it back up to Isaiah. We just kind of rolling with it there. Just prophesying the downfall of this place. Actually, we were talking about World War III. We started talking about World War III. Put a little to, but I mean, that's what I mentioned it earlier, because it's like a chain reaction. Okay, these different conflicts are all geared up for World War III. Okay, and World War III is eventually going to end with nuclear missiles, and ultimately I know what the Wadi Habashman Shah. I remember what it was that I was going to get. It was Revelation 17. All right, when I mentioned America being left by itself eventually. Okay. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth, which is speaking about Babylon the Great, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, because they sit in the power seat of the earth right now. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. All right. They're allies, the NATO EU. Okay. And shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. You see? For the Most High have put it in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. There you go. Oh, and that woman which thou sawest is that great city, Babylon the Great, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Yep, see, in the power seat as the hammer of the earth. So we go back over here. And the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as a leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. That's those nuclear missiles flying. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. See? And it's going hand in hand with Babylon the Great and the Edomites. Because I believe there's when it talks about, let me see if I can find that. It says in Revelation. 9. Is it 9? Might be another another chapter. Okay. I'm thinking that's the verse I want, but I'm not sure. Let me see here. It does say third part of men. I don't know why I'm thinking there's another place where it says that. Let me jump chapters real quick. Now you got me thinking, because I almost want to say that's the scripture I was looking for, but let me see. Is there a scripture that says third part of ships or something like that? 8. Was that? No, we were 9. I think I was in chapter 9. Let me pull this up. Let's they'll give it to us. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's what I was looking for. Revelation 8:7. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. Beautiful, because it says that I shall roll thee down. Let me get that. From the rocks and make thee a burnt mountain. Jeremiah. Or is it Isaiah? As a matter of fact, let me type this in. Okay, let me just, because it'll take me right to it. A burnt mountain, or it should take me right to it. Can I get it? There we go. Jeremiah, yep, Jeremiah 51:25. Behold, I am against thee, O what? Destroying mountain. It's referring to Babylon the Great, said the Lord Yahweh Shah, which destroyeth all the earth. See? And I will stretch out my hand upon thee, which is beautiful because it's talking about Babylon the Great. And what does it say in Revelation 17:5? Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Okay, which I think in Jeremiah 50 and 51, there's a lot of links to Revelation the 18th chapter. So it says, which destroyeth all the earth, and I will stretch out my hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks, and I will make thee a burnt mountain. There you go. You see? Roll thee down from the rocks and make thee a burnt mountain. Okay. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, said the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, beautiful. You got to go back to that Jeremiah 51 again. Okay. Maybe tomorrow, Lord willing. Yep. Okay. So, yep. And the second angel sounded as it were a great mountain burning with fire, was cast into the sea. You see? See how they linked up there? Roll thee down from the rocks and make thee a burnt mountain. Jeremiah 51:25. See if I can remember that one. What will I do? And the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. And the third part of the ships were destroyed. And that's dealing with Esau, all right? Esau, again, because America is the main target, it's the main place of destruction. Like I said, we started off talking about these countries, fighting one another, and some of their conflicts, escalating. Then you have proxy wars, and then you also have new conflicts that are sparking up, all the time. All right, but then it led up to basically, surpassing just talking about World War III to destruction of Babylon the Great. But it's okay. We just kind of roll with it. So yeah, they're dealing with Esau right here, where Babylon the Great. Okay, now there's a great destruction that's coming upon the planet. Jacob's trouble is going to be all over the planet. You're not going to be able to run to an island or to a different country or whatever and hide from Jacob's trouble. It's not going to be possible. All right, but when it comes to the major destruction, nuclear missiles. Now wherever the Lord wants to shoot missiles, all right, He's going to shoot missiles to. Okay, but when we talk about all the nations that have the nuclear missiles, we know all their missiles are going to go to one location, which is here in Babylon the Great. As a matter of fact, let's probably end it with Joel 2. It says, and died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. Okay, I believe it goes into talking about the wormwood, which is beautiful because Russia talked about they had a nuclear torpedo to make it a nuclear tidal wave. I think that's that next verse. Let me see. It says, in the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. Yep, and the name of the star is called wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Yeah, because you have that nuclear fallout, which is radiation. All right, that poisons. Okay, and then also you got Russia talking about I have a nuclear. You don't think Russia's gonna shoot a nuclear torpedo at America when that time comes, and create a nuclear tidal wave? Because it may not even hit the shore. They may be aiming it at some ship that's off the coast of America, and then boom, that destruction happens, and then the tidal wave happens. Who knows how it's gonna play out if the Lord makes Russia use that against Babylon the Great. I'm just speaking about the fact that they made it. Okay, a nuclear a nuclear a torpedo, which creates a nuclear tidal wave. All right, and then also I forget the name of the other one, but they were saying that they had this a missile that it's not really unlimited, but it can stay up in the air for a very long time, just kind of fly around. And then when they would decide that they send it to a target, they could just send it. So Russia's got some pretty advanced stuff. China's got some pretty advanced stuff, but see, but never to count out America, because America is very, very advanced. See, when it comes to, how they look on the world stage, America doesn't look, as bad as they used to. But when it comes to technology, they do have some things that a lot of people are not going to be prepared for. Because that's one thing America does boast in its technology, but not as openly as most people think. America's not just going to be an easy pushover. This is why all the nations have to come against her. And when it comes to technology and weapons, America's got some stuff. And they got a lot of things that they're probably, hiding and not telling about. But it's all good, because it's all for the Lord's purpose, man, to do this. Let's read from the top. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion. This is a warning to the nation of Israel to seek the Lord now, especially if you live in Babylon the Great, because if not, you may end up being destroyed by one of these nuclear missiles. And sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand, a day of darkness. And see, the day of Yahweh cometh. All right, that day of vengeance. See, he says, vengeance belongeth unto me. That day of vengeance. Okay, it says, for it is nigh at hand. It's close. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. See, everybody's talking about the missiles, man. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong. So as the morning spread upon the mountains, and you ever seen a mountain range, and then how it looks, in the morning, it's very beautiful. And they're saying that's how the troops are going to be. Okay, it says a great people and a strong. There had not. I'm sorry, I said troops. Excuse me. I meant missiles. All right. There hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. Right, the land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yet and nothing shall escape them. I've never read this in the NLT. You know what? Let's do that. Let's read this in the NLT. I've never read this chapter in the NLT. I'm kind of curious now how it reads, because we're going to close it off from here anyways. I think we can just kind of flow with it long enough, because I actually want to get those news clips together too. I just looked up. It's 9 o'clock. It's actually early. Let me get the NLT. It feels later than what it is. Sound the alarm in Jerusalem. Raise the battle cry on my holy mountain. Let everyone tremble in fear, because the day of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is upon us. It is a day of darkness and gloom, a day of thick clouds and deep blackness. Suddenly, like dawn spread across the mountains, a great and mighty army appears. Nothing like it has been seen before or will ever be seen again, because you're going to have every country. All right, it says, what's that in Jeremiah? Shoot at her, spare no arrows. Every country that has nuclear missiles launching them in one target. All right. Now there may be different areas in this different location of Babylon the Great, east, west, north, south, central, whatever. But the one target has been the country itself. Fire burns in front of them, and flames follow after them. Ahead of them, the land lies as beautiful as the Garden of Eden. Behind them is nothing but desolation. Not one thing escapes. Yeah, because they're not going to be able to escape this nuclear destruction. All right. The only way to escape this nuclear destruction is up into the Lord's chariot, and Lord will we be at their number. They look like horses. They charge forward like war horses. Look at them as they leap along the mountaintops. Listen to the noise they make, like the rumbling of chariots, like the roar of fire sweeping across a field of stubble, or like a mighty army moving into battle. Yeah, like the roar of fire sweeping across a field of stubble, because you hear that whoosh, when fire kicks up, all right, or like a mighty army moving into battle. So, and this goes to show you, it's not army and army, or army men. It says like a mighty army moving into battle, because it's talking about the missiles. Fear grips all the people. Every face grows pale with terror. All right. The attackers march like warriors. And yeah, it says that they're going to be men with their hands on the loins, which more so dealing with Jacob's trouble. But whoever makes it through Jacob's trouble, man, when they hear that sound, if there even is a sound, or if there is, radios or in television that still work, because we don't know how things are going to work with the EMP strike or during the time of war. We probably still have electronics to a certain level. But the point I'm making is, for someone to be here, for one of the wicked, 2/3 of one of the heathens to be here when the missiles are coming in and see it, like they show you in the movies, somebody walk by a shop and you got the TV stacked up inside the shop and there's a bunch of people standing on the sidewalk looking, imagine the fear on that person, all right? When they know they're living in America, things that are going around as crazy as Gotham City out here, right? And then there's a breaking news, all right? Brace yourself for impact. Nuclear missiles are coming. All right. And they're going to make it seem like you probably going to survive it. No, you're not. Okay. Get to your nearest, whatever. I don't know. They tell you to hide. You can hide under the tables, like in the old things, hide under the table and stuff like that. Hey, the destruction that's coming on Babylon the Great, you will not escape it unless you're in the Lord's chariot. And the only ones who are going to be in the Lord's chariot are Israelites. And amongst those Israelites, it's only going to be the remnant. All right. Beginning with 144,000 men. The attackers march like warriors and scale city walls like soldiers. Straightforward they march, never breaking rank. It reminds me of the 300 movie. Forward they march. They never jostle each other. Each moves in exactly the right position. You see, and this is very important here because the Lord controls. What is it? Proverbs 21:1, the king's heart is in the hands of the Lord, and as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. He's going to program, into their minds to launch the missiles, to coordinate the missiles, and then the Spirit of the Lord is going to be in those missiles. Like I always talk about the X-Men first class, X-Men first class at the end when they were fighting each other, but then Magneto finally killed I forget his name at the moment, but it doesn't matter. And he came outside, and then after everything was said and done, the two sides were fighting because they were all mutants, right? Then I'm thinking the word Americans, but not Americans. All the nations, all right, because it's more than just America. All the different nations that were out there in the sea, all right, got the go ahead to launch missiles on everybody, even though there were the side that was working with the government, under Professor. Then you had Magneto and his team that he put together. All right, they were all mutants, so it's like, blow them all up. You go and shoot the missiles. All right, everything's done that needed to be done. Now destroy them all. All right. So and then Magneto, because he has the power of magnetism, he grabbed the missiles and stopped them, and he threw them back at him. All right, and then of course, Professor Kunex, he tried to sack him, and it threw him off. Some of them exploded, some of them fell in the water, and ultimately he of course it's the movie, so he didn't blow up the people, the countries of their warships or whatever. But the point I'm making is how Magneto grabbed those missiles and controlled them. He was able to take them and coordinate them and send them back. All right, that's how the Lord's going to do with those missiles. He's going to coordinate and send them where he wants to send them. And there's nobody that's going to be able to reprogram them or some kind of fail safe, or how do you stop it? How do we lock it out? Or, there's going to be no stopping it. And once the missiles fly, they're going to fly, and they're going to go, exactly where the Lord wants them to go. All right. And I always mention this from Revelation, the 18th chapter. How it's very ironic how the Lord puts it in there. How it says the nations are going to wail over her. Which now there's two levels to it, because you could think about the merchants here, because those are the ones who are going to be yelling. Because you might have regular just business people of I don't know, China, Japan, or whoever. Of course they're going to cry because they had a company here making a lot of money in America. So of course they're going to cry with the cash cow. But when it comes to the military, I don't think the army men are going to be crying. I believe it's more so dealing with the the people, the merchants of the earth. Like it says there, just the people with businesses and that made merchandise. I don't think it's more so dealing with the army, but we'll see, right? They never jostle each other. Each moves in exactly the right position. You see, they break through. They never jostle each other, so they're not gonna bump. All right, and blow up in midair. See, look, push, elbow. Then you got a bump against, see, someone, roughly, typically in a crowd. All right, the action of jostling. Okay, so yeah, they're not gonna you're not gonna have two missiles they're going to collide midair, and then they fall into the ocean or explode midair, create a explosion, and then other missiles are flying, so they might create a bigger explosion because other missiles are getting exploded by the explosion. All no, ain't none of that. It's not going to go haywire, man. This plan is going to be fulfilled because this is part of the will of the Lord to destroy Babylon the Great. All right. So it says each moves in exactly the right position. They break through defenses without missing a step. See? Because mind you, it's talk about it as like they're army men, but these are not army men. These are missiles, man. So it says they break through the defenses. They break through defenses without missing a step. They swarm over the city and run along its walls. They enter all the houses, climbing like thieves through the windows. Yep, because it's going to be 200 million. Okay, so it's going to be missiles hitting somewhere everywhere. All right, people that are trying to hide out and people try to go out and live on the mountain somewhere. All right, it says that it's gonna be like on the mountains, boom, boom, boom. So they're not gonna be able to hide in the mountains, in a forested area somewhere. Okay, you might have a person living in a cave. That cave gonna get blown up. All right, the mountains and rocks are gonna fall on that person hiding in that cave. They might live out, people like to live out in the countryside with a big farmland and a house and stuff like that. This one guy that's like a doomsday prepper. He was booby trapping his house and stuff like that. And it's going to matter, all right? Because if you don't get overrun in Jacob's trouble, surely the missiles are going to get you, okay? Which you might even run out of food, all right? Because all that doomsday prepping, you might still run out of food, okay? Hell, the Lord could do something where, I'm trying to think of an example. Bear with me. Okay, so because like I'm saying, so the Lord could do something where, fortify this place or whatever, and he can have it where, I don't know, this man wife bug out or something. Like, what's that movie called? Here's Johnny. Man, what's that movie called? I can't even think of the name of the movie now. Okay, but yeah, you know how it was when in the hotel. He can have, one of this man's family members wig out. He can have him wig out or whatever and start to go crazy over the goods in the house. Oh, you eating too much rations. What do you mean? There's a lot of stuff here. Wigging out. The Lord can do anything, man. But most of these people are gonna starve here, all right? A lot of these people are gonna starve, man. Okay? Especially Jake. Jake gonna starve, man. All right. Currency. Well, a lot of Jake gonna take the microchip. Okay. Because they want to eat. And, they don't know nothing about the Lord. They know about Jesus Christ, white boy Jesus coming to get you, right? You're gonna die. Cause he ain't coming. He ain't saving nobody. All right. He's gonna lead you to the microchip, man. But let me continue because I'm about to get into a whole other topic now. It says they swarm over the city and run along its walls. They enter all the houses, climbing like thieves through the windows. Okay. Because there's going to be 200 million missiles. So there's not going to be a place that's going to be messed up. I think there's a scripture, it doesn't say it exactly how I'm going to say it, but, pretty much going to dry up, these rivers. You got rivers and lakes and stuff like that. Hey, with the heat that's coming, okay, from those 200 million missiles, hey, the Lord is going to cook up Babylon the Great something nice, and it's going to dry up the waters, okay? There's going to be when he says it's going to be a desert, he really means it. He's going to send that heat to scorch this place, as well as dry out any water source here. Okay. And the only thing that's going to be here afterwards is desert creatures, like the scriptures say. Okay. The earth, now how they're going to feed, we don't know. The earthquakes as they advance. But speaking of that, also that's how we know that the fire is not going to be forever, like the scriptures say. I believe it's in Matthew. I think it's a couple places, but I know in Matthew like 4 or 5 it talks about the unquenchable fire. Okay. Oh yeah, in Revelation chapter 9. No, not 9. Revelation chapter 14, okay? Where it talks about that. Yeah, I think it's 14, like verses 9 through 11. But it talks about, the smoke of her burning forever and ever. Oh, I think that's also in Revelation 8. Yeah, but so you get my point. It's not really going to burn forever. It's just going to burn for an extended period of time. And until the Lord's anger has been subsided from that fire, then he's going to put it out. And we know that because he says desert creatures are going to be there, okay? There's no flame retardant animals, none that I know of, okay? So that means the fire is going to die out, all right? So, it may throw you off when it says unquenchable fire in Matthew, but the fire is going to be quenched. Just it's not going to be unquenchable by a human, any human efforts, all right? It's going to be only quenchable by the Heavenly Father. He's going to, eventually have it die out. And how long that may be, we don't know. All right. The earth quakes as they advance, and because it says the earth shall reel to him for like a drunken in Isaiah. The earth quakes as they advance, and the heavens tremble. The sun and moon grow dark, and the stars no longer shine. See, we talked about the motion cloud earlier, right? Yahweh is at the head of the hold up. Okay, Yahweh is at the head of the column. He leads them with a shout. This is his might. You see, Yahweh is at the head of the column. He leads them with a shout. You see, the Spirit of the Lord is guiding them. This is his mighty army, and they follow his orders. The day of Yahweh is an awesome, terrible thing. Who can possibly survive? No one except for the remnant, you see, who are predestined to receive it. See? So there you go. So and he calls the missiles his army, all right? Because the angels are his army. Okay, but the missiles are, part of his weapons. It says that these are the weapons of his indignation. Okay. I actually went a lot longer than I wanted to. I didn't expect to go into all this, but it's okay. We just flowed for a minute there. So yeah, I'm gonna just leave it at that. So Lord willing, you will edify to next time. I'm going to say shalom.